Hi, this is Sebastian van der Schrier from socialanxietysolutions.com. I'm a former social anxiety disorder sufferer and a social confidence coach. For the past, nearly 10 years, I've been helping people overcome their social anxiety by combining traditional therapy with energy psychology. Now, more about what that is at some point, but this video or this podcast, depending on where you're watching or listening to this, I'm going to talk about facial twitching, lip twitching, neck twitching, and all sorts of other stuff like that. Because I've worked with a bunch of people who had these problems, and I happen to, have spoken to two new clients at the same day who both have this problem. So I thought it would be good to do a video about it. So, well, what is it? Facial twitching or neck twitching. So this is when, exactly what the name is, so it starts to twitch. So this is in high anxiety situations, people's neck starts to twitch, or their lips starts to twitch, or their cheek, or something on their face. And it's a very upsetting thing for people. So when they reach out to me, one of the first things that they say is like, if I can just get rid of this, that would be great. And what I tell them is that the problem is not the, facial twitching. The problem is rather that they have all sorts of unprocessed feelings and emotions. And the facial twitching, in my experience, usually comes from having suppressed anxiety with all your might. So, and it's what many people do, and what I've definitely been doing for a long time as well, and that is when anxiety comes up, you want to appear normal. You want to appear like you're fine. You want to appear that nothing is going on, but in the meantime, or at the same time, there's a whole shit show of stuff going on the inside. Your heart is racing, there's a lump in your throat, there's a tightness in your chest, your thoughts are racing, and you have all this tightness, and you're trying to come across like everything is fine. Well, in those moments, you're suppressing what you're feeling. You're trying to push away the anxiety. You're trying to control it. You're trying to... And when you do that a lot, you can, in some situations, you actually can suppress it a bit in some situations. And for a fair bit of people who are able to do that, that eventually, in my experience, will then result in facial twitching. That's kind of where it comes out, and you can no longer control that. And that's when they really start to freak out, because now it's like, oh my God, I've got this uncontrollable thing that I have to control. I hope it's not going to happen. What if it's going to happen? What if my face is going to twitch and everyone is going to see it, right? And that actually motivates them to then start reaching out for help, because this is not something that they have under their control anymore any longer. So basically, it's just a symptom of social anxiety. And sometimes a symptom of having had social anxiety quite severely, or having suppressed it very strongly. And usually perfectionism is linked to this problem as well. And so then they have the facial twitching, and then they have all these feelings about it. So this guy that I was speaking to tomorrow, it's my best English. This guy that I was speaking to this morning, I asked him, so what have you done to try to get rid of it? He's like, well, I saw a counselor, and I spoke with him, and he said, well, you're worrying about the facial twitching is what kind of, makes it happen, or at least that's the thing that kind of keeps it in place. So just don't worry so much about it. So kind of had to laugh at that advice, because that's easier said than done, isn't it? I mean, how do you stop worrying about something that worries you? It's kind of like saying, don't think of a, purple monkey with a head on. what are you going to think of? You're going to think of that. You can't stop thinking about something. So what are you to do? Well, when I'm going to work with someone who has facial twitching going on, it's one of the things that we're going to look on early on, because it's right there in the moment. It's the elephant in the room, so to speak. So they'll have all sorts of feelings about that facial twitching. So think about, they're ashamed of it, they're embarrassed by it, they feel humiliated if it gets pointed out. There's frustration about it. Maybe they're angry with themselves for having it. They're afraid that they'll live like that forever. They have all sorts of judgments on top of that as well, like I'm a freak, there's something wrong with me, I'm broken, all that kind of stuff. And it's these feelings and these judgments that keep the twitching in place. So the first thing to actually get rid of the facial twitching is to come to a place of acceptance that that's what's going on. And that's challenging for people, because they're like, but this is unacceptable. It makes me stand out in a bad way. And but there's good news. All these emotional reactions and all these judgments, judgment is just a thought, but an emotionalized thought. And so these emotionalized thoughts and these negative emotions are all tapping targets. They're things that you can focus on, bring them up in your body, think about it, tune into it, connect with it, and then do the tapping. And then while you add the tapping to it, those self-judgments, those worries, those concerns, those negative emotions will start to neutralize bit by bit. And sometimes this takes a bit of persistence, and sometimes this doesn't go as easily because there's resistance to letting go of the judgment. And yet that is the process. That is the process that you do. So with my new client, that's what I'll be doing in the coming session. In fact, with both of my new clients, I'll be doing that kind of work. Getting them to a place where their facial twitching, they're no longer worried about other people seeing it. They're in acceptance of it. They're not bothered by it anymore. And interestingly enough, that is what actually makes it go away. Because what you resist persists, and what you accept, you gain power over, or it's not the right word. What you accept kind of can process, can complete its cycle. And that's likely going to make them feel a lot more comfortable and a lot better about themselves to start with. Then they have the actual social anxiety themselves that still needs to be addressed, and which we'll do, which is a matter of simply breaking it down and bit by bit working through it. Sometimes that goes really fast, sometimes that requires tapping over time. But that's for another video. So here are my thoughts on facial twitching and lip twitching and neck shivering and all that kind of thoughts, all that kind of stuff. So hope it's been helpful. If you have a question about this, post it below this video. If you're listening to this on a podcast, just know that I have a YouTube channel as well with hundreds of videos. And this is actually a video, and I take the audio from these videos and I put them on my YouTube. No, I create a podcast out of that. Man, confusing. Anyway, so that YouTube channel, where you also find videos that are not on my podcast, it can be found at youtube.com/Sebastian Doc, SEBASTIAAN, Doc, D-O-C. That's right. So I'm a former social anxiety disorder sufferer, social confidence coach, and I used tapping, EFT, emotional freedom techniques, and the help of some brilliant therapists to overcome my own social anxiety. And I do a podcast where I interview psychologists, coaches, healers, psychotherapists, best-selling authors for their best social anxiety solutions. Most of those episodes are actually in the beginning because I've been very preoccupied with other projects, but I'll be interviewing people in the nearby future. Again, so if you want to check out more of the interviews, go to the earlier episodes, and that podcast is called Social Anxiety Solutions, to be found in iTunes, and I think we're since recently on Spotify as well. Or you can go to my website, socialanxietysolutions.com, and there click on the podcast button. You can listen, stream, and download the podcast there. Further, I run the first ever social confidence community. Not open for registration at the moment, but might open in a couple of months from now. And I just released my new product, Create Incredible Emotional Control. To find out more about that, click on the link below this video or go to bit.ly/get emotional control. bit.ly/get GET emotional. You know what emotional spells like. And then control. You know what that spells like, hopefully. All right. Hope it's been helpful, and I will connect with you next week. I release videos like this every week, so subscribe here. All right. Bye for now.